everyone, and welcome back to another video. So I am doing a book haul today. There's some books that I've gathered in the last 2 months, really. So December and then January. So I wanted to show them off to you and maybe get you some more ideas for books to put on your shelf. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first book, and this is from my January book of the month box. I got two, but the first one is Babylonia by Costanza Casati. I apologize if I'm saying the last name wrong, but this one just sounded super good. So I believe it's, I don't remember if it's like a fantasy world or if she's taking it from like a historical kind of setting and then making it fantasy kind of thing. But I will go ahead and read the synopsis for you for this one. Probably because I forget what it says. But yes, when I read this on Book of the Month before I made this my pick for January, I thought it sounded great, so hopefully it sounds good to you too. Babylonia across the centuries has become the embodiment of lust, excess, and dissolute power. In this world, you had to kill to be king, or in the case of Semiramis, an orphan raised on the outskirts of the empire, queen. Nothing about Semiramis's upbringing could have foretold her legacy, but when she meets a young representative of the new Assyrian king, a prophecy unfolds before her, one that puts her in the center of a brutal world and in the hearts of two men. Caught in the politics and the viciousness of ancient Assyria, Semiramis trains in war and diplomacy, and with each move, she rises in rank, embroiled in a game of power, desire, love, and betrayal, until she can ascend to the only position that will ever keep her safe. So there's going to be a love triangle from what it sounds like, and probably political scheming, a little bit of war. I'm not sure if this is a standalone novel or not, but it just sounds super great. I don't know when I will be able to put it on my, like, well, it's on my TBR, obviously, but I don't know when it'll be like move up in the ranks of my TBR. Maybe this year, so we'll see. But it just sounds so great, and I just love Book of the Month too because it gives you different authors and different like books for you to like see and find out and see if you'll like them or not. So I really do like that. The next book I got from Book of the Month is Adrienne Young's newest, A Sea of Unspoken Things. This one, super short. She writes so, like, her books are so short. I mean, this one is only 273 pages. So it's it's like under 300 pages, super quick read. She is an automatic buy author for me. Her recent books have been more of like, I'd say magical realism. So it's got some magic of some sort in them, but it takes place in a real place. Unlike her, I think it's the Fable series that she wrote, that is in a complete fantasy landscape. I have not read those by her yet. I really want to, just because she's an automatic buy for me. It doesn't matter what she writes, I absolutely love it. So this one, it takes place in California, and basically it has something to do with two twins, and then when one of the twins dies, the other twin goes, and I don't remember if she's like investigating the murder or if she's just going to take care of like his estate or whatever because of his death, but she's got a connection with her twin regardless of him being dead. So I think it's more of a mystery style magical realism story, and I'm just excited to pick this up. I think it'll be great. Partly also because it's Adrienne Young and she is fantastic. The next book I have, and I actually just got this week, is The Night is Defying by Chloe C. Penaranda. This is the second book in a Nightfall series. So I have the first one. That one is actually on my TBR to read next month. And so I might have to marathon depending on how I like the first one. I do know that it's supposed to be a fantasy romance. I don't want to read the synopsis for this one just because it is the second book. But it's got like a dark feel, obviously. So I don't remember if it has something to do with like vampires or what it is, but I'm like super excited. Oh goodness, it's got the same thing. Like, so the hardcover for the other one looks exactly the same. Like, not exactly the same, but it's got a picture on the hardcover. And it's got black and white pictures inside. So I am super excited to read this series. I do hope I like it. I'll have to let you guys know. But I do plan to read the first one in March. So this one, depending on how I like the first one, will most likely marathon. So it'll come either right after or it'll be in April, depending on where the first one falls for me. So I am super excited. And plus, this one is just, it looks so pretty. So I'm stoked. The next books I have to show off, and I'm not sure if I've shown it in like another video or not. I couldn't remember, so I thought I would just bring them out. But it's the Broken Bindings edition of books 3 and 4 of The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. And so book 3 is The Song Rising. So you've got the new covers that you can buy normally, but it's got beautiful sprayed edges. It's got the little ribbon at the top, and the hardcover is like that. So beautiful. Oh, and it's got like a quote on the side. And then it's got these beautiful end pages in here. So I am super excited to read The Bone Season. The 5th and final one comes out in March, I think, and I'm getting the Broken Binding edition, so I'll have all 5. So super excited about that. But then this is the 4th one, The Mask Falling, and again, you have the normal or the new covers that they're redoing for the 5th one's release, but then this one's sprayed edges, and again, it's gonna have your beautiful end pages here. Pretty much the same thing on the front, except the name is different, and then a quote on the side. So these, I don't know when I plan to read these, but I'd like to do it this year sometime. I don't know. I have so many books to read. I feel like not enough time. So just gonna have to figure that out. Next ones I have to show off are also Broken Bindings editions. And it's actually the 3rd book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series by Tad Williams. But Broken Binding had to break them up into part 1 and part 2 just because the third book is so thick, I guess. So part one, they've named it To Green Angel Tower, Siege. And so it's this beautiful cover, and then it's got a nice sprayed edge of a sword. On the inside, it's got this, and then just beautiful gold inlay on the hardcover. So I am like, this is an old fantasy series, and I'm super excited to have these on my shelf. I need to read more epic fantasy in my life. So subscribing to Broken Binding has been like fantastic. Not only do I get beautiful books, but I also get like some wonderful like fantasy stories that I can just dive into. So then the second part is To Green Angel Tower, Storm. So then this is the cover. And what's funny is this one has got all 3 swords. So if you can see, it's like up here. So each book 1, 2, and book 3 part 1 has 1 sword. This is book 3 part 2, and it's got all 3 swords on it. So it's just absolutely gorgeous. And the inside has got the dragon. They're just absolutely gorgeous at these books, and I'm so happy I get to have I got to have them on my shelf. But just another series that I need to get to. Who knows when, but I will definitely be getting to this series hopefully soon. So the next book I bought is actually the second one in the Runestone saga. I'm not sure how many books there's supposed to be, but I have the first one, which is Ragnarok, or Children of Ragnarok, by Cinda Williams-Chima. And this one is Bane of Asgard by Cinda Williams-Chima. To be quite honest, I bought the first one a while ago. I don't know how many years it's been out, and I don't know why, but I never thought about it having a second book. So when I saw that there is one, I just went ahead and bought it, because I'm kind of like that. I like to have all the books in a series, regardless if I read them or not yet. And trust me, if I end up reading the first book and I don't like it, then yes, I know I've kind of wasted money, but so far I haven't really disliked anything that I've bought that I have like the whole series of. So I'm hoping the streak stays, but I'm super excited to get into this series, especially now that I have book 1 and 2. I'm not sure if a third one's coming out or not. I'll have to look into that. But I'm glad I can put this one on my shelf. The next book, it came out top of January, and it is a fantasy romance as well. And this is called The Starlight Heir. I'm not sure if it's a standalone or not. And I know it's kind of like shimmery, so it's shining off of my light, but it's gorgeous. It's got this like wolf, like, I don't know, it's like a wolf with wings. It's super pretty. So I need to like put this one on there too, because it's not long. But like, oh wait, I think I just saw something when I was flipping through. Oh, so there is gonna be a second one. It says the story continues in Queen of the Night Sky. So I'm gonna have to pre-order that one because that's just me. I get second books in before I even read the first one, but I do hope to read this one soon because it is pretty short. I will read the synopsis for you real quick. I fell in love with the synopsis when I read it. I thought it'd be a super good novel. When an invitation to King Zarek's palace arrives at Suray Sab's forge, she thinks it's a mistake. Nobles might seek her skills as a bladesmith, but she has no qualifications as a potential bride for the crown prince. Still, she accepts the summons, if only to see the famed capital city her mother adored. But the royal court is nothing she could have imagined, and it's fraught with danger. It's not the crown prince, but his impossibly handsome, illegitimate brother, Roshan, who captures her interest. The invitation isn't a quest to find a bride, but a hunt for the Star Keeper, a girl rumored to hold the power of the stars in her blood. And across the city, unrest brews between the nobles and the rebel militia. When the rebels attack, Surrey and Roshan find themselves on the run, trying to deny their attraction. But Roshan is guarding secrets of his own, and with no control over the power stirring within her, Surrey has drawn the attention of a dark god, an immortal whose interest might be the biggest threat of all. So, it's got, I'm going to say, forbidden romance. It's got a god. It's got princes. I'm sold. For sure. Absolutely sold. And I can't wait to read this. The next book I have on my shelf is Breath of the Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. And I just found out that Shannon Lee is Bruce Lee's daughter. And then obviously Fonda Lee is the author of Jade City. And I have not read those yet, but they are on my TBR and I will be reading them soon. But this one just sounded fantastic, so I had to pick it up. I will read you the synopsis of this one as well. So 16-year-old June dreams of proving his worth as a warrior in the Elite Guardians tournament, held every 6 years to entrust the magical scroll of heaven to a new protector. Eager to prove his skills, June hopes that a win will restore his father's pride, righting a horrible mistake that caused their banishment from his home, mother, and twin brother. But June's father strictly forbids him from participating. He believes there is no future in June honing his skills as a warrior, especially considering June is not breath-marked, born with a patch of dragon scales and blessed with special abilities, like his twin. Determined to be the next guardian, June stows away in the wagon of Chang and his daughter Ren, performers on their way to the capital where the tournament will take place. As June competes, he quickly realizes he may be fighting for not just a better life, but the fate of the country itself and the very survival of everyone he cares about. So, I think it's a coming-of-age story. This guy, June, is trying to get to be a guardian to not only help his country, but also help his family. So, I think it'll be fantastic. And I think there's going to be some great fighting scenes in this. Based on what I have heard from what Fonda Lee wrote in Jade City. And also just because, I mean, if you have Fonda Lee writing fighting scenes and then you tack on Shannon Lee, who is probably just as skilled as Bruce Lee, or at least knows, and I guarantee you the fighting scenes are going to be fantastic. So the next books I have, and it is going to be my beginning of my Joe Abercrombie journey, and that is the Blade Itself trilogy. I have all three of the Blade Itself, Before They're Hanged, and Last Argument of Kings. So I did get all of these. I plan to read these first before I get any more of Joe Abercrombie other than his new release that's coming out in May. Because I know with Joe Abercrombie, for this world specifically, you got to read this series first, and then there's 3 standalones you have to read, and then you can read the next trilogy in this world. So I have them all on my Amazon book wish list. That I will be buying at some point, but I need to read these first. But yeah, I've heard that Joe Abercrombie is just absolutely fantastic. He is grim dark fantasy. He's what is he? Grim dark fantasy, and he's more character driven than plot driven from what I've gathered, but there's still plot. I'll read you the synopsis, which is really weird because it's not on the back, it's on the first page. Logan Ninefingers, infamous barbarian, has finally run out of luck. Caught in one feud too many, he's on the verge of becoming a dead barbarian, leaving nothing behind him but bad songs, dead friends, and a lot of happy enemies. Nobleman, dashing officer, and paragon of selfishness, Captain Dejal Dan Luther, has nothing more dangerous in mind than fleecing his friends at cards and dreaming of glory in the fencing circle. But war is brewing, and on the battlefields of the frozen north, they fight by altogether bloodier rules. Inquisitor Glocta, cripple turned torturer, would like nothing better than to see Giselle come home in a box. But then Glocta hates everyone. Cutting treason out of the Union one confession at a time leaves little room for friendship. His latest trail of corpses may lead him right to the rotten heart of government, if he can stay alive long enough to follow it. Enter the wizard Baez, a bald old man with a terrible temper and a pathetic assistant. He could be the first of the Magi. He could be a spectacular fraud. But whatever he is, he's about to make the lives of Logan, Giselle, and Glocta a whole lot more difficult. Murderous conspiracies rise to the surface, old scores are ready to be settled, and the line between hero and villain is sharp enough to draw blood. To be quite honest, after reading that, because I've never read the synopsis, after reading that, I want to like kick my TBR and start reading this. That's how great that sounds. So, I will definitely be documenting my Joe Abercrombie journey. So be ready for that when that happens. I'm going to talk about a few nonfiction books that I got recently that I will be having on my TBR at some point, because I do like to read a nonfiction here and there. But the first one is The American Leviathan by Ned Ryoun, The Birth of the Administrative State and Progressive Authoritarianism. I cannot say that word, and I apologize. But it's pretty short. It's actually like, I don't know, I read the synopsis of it and it just sounded really interesting to me, so I thought I would check it out. And then the next two are by the same author, Brian Greene, and he's actually a physicist. And so both of them are really, really like, I don't know, just intriguing to me. So something that I think I would like to read about. And the first one is The Elegant Universe, Superstrings, Hidden Dimensions, and the Quest for the Ultimate Theory. And then The Fabric of the Cosmos, Space-Time and the Texture of Reality. So I do have two by Brian Greene that I want to read. There is more, but I controlled myself and only bought these two right now. I will buy more when I finish these. So, you know how I have a problem with buying books in a series before I've read them? Well, I did that with Dune. So I'm sure I've shown it in the past, but I have the first three Dune books. I have Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune. And I plan to read them this year. Well, I had a gift card, and so I just decided to pick up the last three, and it was God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune, which I think that's the order. Yes, Chapter House is the last one. So I absolutely love these covers when they did the recover of them. Partly because they are floppy, but also just the designs caught my eye. And I need to read more science fiction, and this is more of that science fiction fantasy because it takes place so far in like a future galaxy or whatever that I call this science fiction fantasy. But I I don't know if I will read the whole Dune series this year, but I do plan to start it. So yes, I'm very excited to dive into that world. And I have all 6 books, so I am definitely excited because if I like it, then I can marathon and I can get them done. The next one, and it will be a read in April for me, and that is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I have heard absolutely fantastic things about this book, so I am super, super excited to read this. And obviously this is the original cover. She's getting, this is getting traditionally published. I don't know if it was indie published or like originally, or if it just got published in paperback. But a hardcover edition is coming out this year, along with the second book is coming out in November. I don't know if I'm going to buy the hardcover just because I already have the first book, but I've already got the second one on order. So that will be here in November. But I am super excited to read this. I've heard absolutely fantastic things. And I don't know. I really need to pick it up soon. I will read you the synopsis if you don't know, but here it is. 24-year-old Sarah Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses, or the fact that she has been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. In the land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water, but sooner or later every secret comes out. When Saris comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legend, of nightmares, but it turns out they're real, and Saris has landed right in the middle of a centuries-long conflict that might just get her killed. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of Yavila in over 1,000 years, Saris mistakenly binds herself to King Fisher, a handsome Fae warrior who has secrets and nefarious agendas of his own. He will use her alchemist's magic to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or her. So, it just, you take that at what you will, but it sounds absolutely fantastic. I also picked up Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. So I now have the completed Era 1 of Stormlight Archives. And yes, I know I've only read The Way of Kings, and I was supposed to read more last year, and I never got to it, but I'm in the middle of 2 books right now, and I've got 1 more book to read, and then I'm reading Words of Radiance. That is what I'm doing. I'm going to get this done this year. Maybe. The 5th one might have to wait until 2026, but I'm going to be reading them throughout the year. I promise. I was debating on getting it because this is the hardcover and I have all of the other ones in paperback, but I just decided to get it because I didn't want to wait and get the paperback. It's fine. I'll just, have this one in hardcover, and then once he starts releasing Era 2 of Stormlight Archive, those will all be in hardcover as well. So, but absolutely fantastic. I am super excited. Brandon Sanderson is probably one of my favorite authors of all time, and I will pick up and read anything and everything he writes. I also got Onyx Storm. I'm super excited. This is the deluxe limited edition. And it's got dragons on the side. I love it. It's plain really, other than the dragons, because there's nothing really special about this one other than the sprayed edges. But I love it, and I'm excited. and I will be picking this up soon. I just have to finish 2 books because I'm in the middle of 2. So as soon as I finish those, I will be picking this one up. But I had a friend get me the Target exclusive. So the sprayed edges are different. And on here, Onyx Storm is in gold instead of on here it's white. And then this has got a colored map. It's got a little ribbon in it, and it's also got art as well. Let me see if I can find one. Here we go. There's a piece of art that's in it. So I plan to read this one just because of, like, I can see the art and other things like that. And I know that people are upset about the Target exclusive, partly because they didn't do it very well, really, with, like, the releasing of it. And also fans learned that the art inside, it doesn't really go with the story. They just took art from other things and put it in there. Which, I mean, for me, I'm not upset about. I wasn't planning on buying this one since I already bought, like, pre-ordered the deluxe limited edition. But I had a friend think of me when she was going and getting hers, and so she got me one, and I just thought it was super sweet of her. So I'm definitely excited to read Onyx Storm, and I will have 2 on my shelf, but they are different, and I love them both. The last 2 books I have are probably going to become one of my favorite series of all time. I'm in the middle of the 3rd one on Kindle Unlimited right now, and I've already pre-ordered that one. That one's coming out in March because this author got picked up to be traditionally published, and so they've published book 1 and 2, but they haven't published book 3 yet. That's coming out in March. And then I still don't know when book 4 is coming out. And I need to know. I mean, granted, I'm only like 100 and some pages in the 3rd one, but I just absolutely love it. And that is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Guys, I'm telling you, this is fantastic. Fantastic writing, fantastic world, fantastic romance, characters, everything. Fantastic. But I will save that for my spoiler-filled review that you will be seeing here soon. But this is the first one, Spark of the Everflame, and then this is the second one, Glow of the Everflame. So I am glad that I have these on my shelf. I'm super excited to have read these already, and I'm reading the 3rd one, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to get all of them and put them on my shelf. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are all the books that I've gotten recently. I apologize that this was a longer video, but I did have a ton of books to talk to you guys about. Let me know what are some books that you've gotten in the last couple months. I would absolutely love to know. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that